An array of moves from Cody Williams leads to a career night, but it's the veteran DeMar DeRozan that the Jazz could not stop, and the Kings get the win over the Utah Jazz, their 18th of the season, as the Jazz hold it 20-48 here in Sacramento. It's time for POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone. Jazz fall tonight 116-111. One note on this one, Isaiah Collier does leave with a knee contusion. Hopefully he is just fine. He had 21 points in the game, but the story of the night will be Cody Williams, the 10th pick of the draft for the Utah Jazz, busting out with 34 points tonight, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and a block. I mean, just an all-around night, but different array of scoring from him. 20 shot attempts, 7 threes, 8 free throws. I mean, this is just completely different than what we've seen out of him up to this point in his career.
The assists and 7 rebounds there. And how about the minutes? 38 minutes tonight. And we haven't seen that all season long there as well. He looked just as comfortable out there as though he was still in college. And I know that I didn't see him play a ton of minutes while he was in school, but you can just tell that that was the way he wants to play.
Yeah, maybe back to high school, really. Because in his college team, and this is a little bit of the book on Cody, which is what makes tonight so interesting. If we're just going to be completely transparent. The book on Cody was it was a feeling that he never just played that hard, that he just didn't have a lot of oomph to his game. And I kind of just, when I watched him at Colorado, I excused it because their point guard was this kid, KJ Simpson, who's a senior, was on his way trying to prove himself. Their wing was this guy, Tristan Da Silva, who's now playing for Orlando. They had, I think, Larkin was their center, was a big, huge center, was another senior. And Cody was just kind of lost in the shuffle. And it almost looked a little bit like Cody had some big games early in his freshman year and then kind of almost like, wait a sec, kid. Like, we got to prove ourselves. Then Cody got hurt. And so what we saw tonight was an assertiveness and aggressiveness out of him that really has probably been the biggest question mark about him as a scout from people has been, does Cody actually have the fire to be an NBA player? And I think we saw more of that tonight.
And you start to wonder, though, I mean, he was drafted 10th.
Right.
So, and that's pretty high.
Yes.
So that also says that as a scout, I can see the potential in this guy. And I think he's worthy of being picked in the 10th spot. We saw something out of him that we haven't seen all season long tonight. And like I said earlier, his teammates are so far up was really behind him up off the floor every time he tried to shoot the basketball. But he done a array of things tonight that, again, like we haven't seen all season long. And looking and very aggressively looking to shoot the basketball, 20 shots.
Wow.
He got 20 shots up tonight,
I mean, I think what's interesting to me is the different ways he shot tonight. And some of this, I think you have to be a little careful. This is against DeMar DeRozan, Precious Achiuwa, Maxine Reynaud, Neat Clifford, Killian Hayes, Plowden, McDermott, Cardwell. These are a lot of G League guys. Not
well, you know what I'm going with that, though.
You still got to put it, but some of the shots I'm not sure he can get off. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
But we saw him play off the bounce. Mm-hmm. We saw him play in the mid-range off the bounce. We saw him play off the bounce from a three-point range on one. We really had, up to this point, mostly seen exclusively 2 things from him. One was just a catch-and-shoot corner 3, which he's not particularly good at, and a credible ability to drive the basket, get off one foot, and get on top of the tin, which has been his best skill. There was much more to his scoring tonight.
We saw him play with the ball in his hands more than we've seen all season long. You remember, he was scoring and off cuts, off back doors, that kind of thing, getting to the rim, dunking the basketball there, and very few shots. He was afraid to shoot the basketball. I'm going to say that for a while, especially because the only shots he was taking from the three-point line were at the corners. He made a 3 from the right side up above the other night, and he was 0 for 10 up to that spot.
Yeah, I think it's 3 of 19 all year.
Now he's 1 for 13 on the right side of the floor. So we saw something different.
Yeah, and maybe this is the value of having this team be as shorthanded as this right now. He has no choice.
Right. That's a good thing.
Yeah, he has no choice right now.
That's a good thing for him.
Like, Bez Mbeng is not telling him he should stop shooting. Anderson Garcia is not going to tell Cody Williams he should stop shooting. Yeah. If Cody Williams is going to start a game with Anderson Garcia, Elijah Harkless, Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh, and Cody Williams, he has to shoot tonight.
Yeah. And I'm so glad he got off to a good start. So what he scored good, but even if he didn't score, I would have been happy because he was being aggressive trying to score.
Isaiah Collier's night tonight was really interesting to me on a few things. I'm not going to look at plus minus. He was minus 15, and I'm just not sure that that's fair because maybe it was with only DeRozan. I mean, there's just too many factors with this team. But the book is out, and the book is we're not leaving the shooters. We're forcing you to play one-on-one. We're dropping way off you, which he actually has learned how to take advantage of. But it does mean like 21 shots, 21 points, and only 3 assists in 20. He took 21 shots in 24 minutes. Again, there aren't a lot of other guys take shots. I got it. I just think this is an interesting kind of moment, and we've begun to see this more and more from teams with the scouting. Here's a night where Isaiah was really a part of the offense, like probably the first piece of the scouting report. My guess, if I'm Doug Christie and they're having a meeting today on the back end of a back-to-back, the first person we're talking about is Isaiah Collier.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so we saw them play Isaiah Collier in a very specific way, which really takes away his ability to make passes.
Yeah. I thought he was trying to have a big night.
Okay.
Sensabaugh had a big night. Who else?
Cody
just had one. And Philipowski's had, the big nights. And even though Collier's been getting the assists a game, what is he, 7th in the 8th?
Yep.
7th or 8th in the NBA in assists per game, which is totally awesome. But I thought he was definitely trying to have a big night tonight.
I wouldn't blame him if he walked out of the locker room and looked at who he was starting with and said, "Oh, I have to have a big night tonight."
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that's not. I don't think you're saying that as a negative. I want to make
sure. No, definitely not. No.
All right, DeRozan, not a surprise. DeRozan literally looked like this was great. It was kind of awesome. DeRozan looked like if you went down to the local park. I'm telling this story, and it sounds like I'm being disrespectful to the other players. I don't mean it that way. Literally would be like if DeRozan at 50 rolled down to the park with a bunch of 24-year-old kids who thought they were awesome and just put it on them all night. Like old man, 50 years old, and then he's walking out after all these young kids are like, and one guy goes, "Hey, do you think that was DeMar DeRozan? Do you think that was the NBA Hall of Famer who just showed up at Venice Beach and just like torched the like chain linked nets in the wind?"
You know what you sound like? I listened to the Clippers play and Jimmy Jackson.
Yeah.
Lopez made a shot where he was just holding the guy up. He never jumped. He just threw it like this.
George Mikan, yeah.
And Jimmy Jackson called it an old man shot that you see down at the wines.
Yeah, right. Okay. So this is literally like I could see DeMar DeRozan being on family vacation somewhere at 50, and there's a bunch of, he decides, hey, I need my own time, and he puts on his old.
They don't know who he is.
They don't know who he is.
Yes.
He puts on his own old chocks. He rolls out. Hey guys, can I play? They begrudgingly say sure, and then he just drops 50 on him, walks out without saying a word, and somebody says to him, "Hey, by the way, that dude's in the all-time history of scores in the history of the NBA, and he's going to the Hall of Fame." And
you guys just dismissed him like he was.
And he just kicked your ass. That's what happened tonight.
Yes. And, he did it with 20, how many shots?
21 shots, 21
shots.
Free throws.
And went to the free throw.
And he also had 11 assists. Like at one point in the game, it was clear he was just going to go get his every time.
That sometime in that third period.
But before that, you and I commented that he was actually being kind of a great vet. Yeah. That he was spinning it around, getting to everyone. That he was like, okay, we're going to win tonight. Yeah. Kind of great.
He might be that kind of guy. Do you know him very well?
Well, I heard Will Hardy today say that. I have heard the same. Will Hardy said there are not many people in the NBA who universally every single person they've ever met, interacted with, will say he's awesome, and that's what they say about DeMar DeRozan.
And I can see that. Seems like he's a quiet guy too.
Right. Seems pretty cool. Ron, there any I'm interested, like Anderson Garcia and Bez Mbeng are getting this opportunity that probably exceeds their projected talent level as a player. Like, is there any party that just thinks this is like the neatest thing to watch these kids out here just flying around? Like DeRozan put it on both of them a bunch of times. And there's the play where Bez sneaks behind DeRozan and gets the steal, and he steals it from a Hall of Famer. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. Is there any party that just kind of like gets a kick out of watching these guys get their opportunity that, you know, frankly, I don't think that Bez Mbeng, who started 17 out of 41 games for the Sioux Falls, averaging less than 10 points a game, thought he was going to finish the year in the NBA this year.
I think Garcia might be the one that I think you see how hard he's working.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some good looks. And I said during the broadcast, I like his release. His release is good. He's just, I don't know if he's not a good shooter or what, but his release looks good. He did not make shots. He was 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. But boy, he goes after the boards. He goes after the rebounds. If he can't get it, he tries to keep it alive. He had 10 rebounds tonight, only 1 offensive rebound, but he does. And if there's a way or something that I can do to get noticed to stay in this league or give a chance to play in this league, and if it's rebounding, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, these two guys.
Paul Millsap.
Yep.
Comes to mind. And he turned out to be, over 10 years in the NBA.
And the backstory on Anderson Garcia and Oscar Tshiebwe, both these stories. Tshiebwe, I think many of the fans have heard. If you have not, you know, really, I don't even know how to describe what happened to him in his life. It's so tragic, and he's so positive about it. If you haven't heard the whole story, tell me, I will tell it again sometime. The story on Garcia is from abject poverty in the Dominican Republic. They could not afford shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, and so he would go to the court to either wear the wrong size shoes, or he would go to the court and then trade out his shoes when somebody else went out, and he would wear their shoes. And then I also love the way his mom talked about, like, we're not embarrassed about this. This is just how there's nothing to be embarrassed about here. We came from humble backgrounds, and that's how it was. And I just love that. And then his parents never ever could not afford to, never saw him play any college game in 5 years. I don't know if they made it out for his debut. Maybe also the idea of leaving on an airplane might be too big a leap. For some people, that is the case when you've lived in a small circumference. So, I mean, these two guys are really easy to root for right now. And Mbeng's story is pretty good too. By the way, it's not anything of that nature, but it is kind of lost in the midst of COVID. He has to do all of his recruiting for college over Zoom and decides to choose Yale over Harvard, which makes him a unique person.
Yeah. Getting back to Garcia, just think about if he has to go borrow somebody's shoes, and he's, I don't know how tall he was. He's 6'7" right, now, but was he 6'7" then? Obviously having big feet. Right. You know, so the pickings have to be very, very slim, or the shoes are on and they were pretty tight, you know, or whatever. I had to put them on and play in them.
Yeah, no, I mean, the other story the similar story is Giannis. I mean, that's the Giannis story very much, that he and his 3 brothers would go and they would not all be able to play at the same time because they didn't all have shoes, which is why all of them have roster spots wherever Giannis is, because he demands it, because they were there for the ride. And if you haven't watched the Disney movie on Giannis or read the book, I would suggest it. It's pretty moving. All right. That is POSTCAST tonight. Jazz fall to Sacramento. Big day, by the way. Dallas won today, if you're interested in that. That's super important. And this was pretty important too, by the way, for the Jazz. So good, very good day for the Utah Jazz today.
I need you to help me with this.
Who are you starring up?
That's what I'm Garcia had 10 rebounds, and I think he plays very, very hard. Guys that impact the game other than scoring.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I would probably
got Cody.
Star everyone tonight. Maybe there's one person I wouldn't star, but because of that, I would star everyone tonight, because I actually think there has to be a little bit of an understanding of what they're capable of doing. And I think that all 8 players who played today did what they were most capable of doing.
Okay, I'll go with that. Let's do that.
All 8 stars today.
Yeah.
Okay. That is POSTCAST tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful night, and hope you enjoyed the Oscars as well. Ron, we played a fun game with Ron. Sacramento Kings starter or Oscar nominee to start the night tonight. See ya. Have a good one.